Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today I want to speak a little bit about the mining industry, my home country, and also just give you an update. Still interested in being rich as hell, but if you're confronting the truth, I'm seeing and learning a lot of things, a lot about my inadequacies and trying to peel back on them, changing my habits, letting go of bad habits, letting go of, adopting new habits, new learning strategies, all these types of things, right? Not much, nothing sexy, but it's a little bit difficult. It's kind of an uphill battle, but I have 100% conviction that I'll get past it if I stay committed, right? So today, in light of my interest in business in general, and also in light of the Gold Mafia documentary that came out before, I thought I'd take advantage and finally do this video. I tried to post it before. I have it posted, but it's just not public. But it's to do with the mining industry, right? As I've been here, I'm continuously looking for opportunities and trying to be that kind of entrepreneur or person in general who is aware of what's hot, what's not, um, what's the wisest decision to make, how should I conduct myself in order to improve my situation, right? Improve and just high leverage activities. I'm probably gonna do 2 videos here because I have a lot to say. But backstory: I've been exposed to the mining industry thanks to my father, who I respect and admire greatly. Someone who has been in the mining industry much longer than I have. Obviously, wrestled and tussled around with a couple metals and minerals, seen success here and there, and still being very diligent, really wanting to go forward with it, remaining ambitious, and it's something I respect. um One of the things my dad did do and is doing is copper, right, and pursuing it and trying to get around some of the constraints that we face as a country, right? So it's hard to try and keep track of what I want to say here, but I'm trying to add on to that, right? I'm trying to make sure I make a contribution. If I'm going to be an entrepreneur who's going to make a genuine impact, then I need to, equip myself with the right skills, information particularly, to make sure I'm effective when I act, right? So that's a lot of unraveling truth as far as I understand it so far. You need to understand the contents of whatever it is that you're dealing with, whatever it is that you're trying to solve, whatever it is that you're trying to address. Again, like the previous video, remember that whole quote, I think from Einstein, and it's known. You understand things at a first principles level. If you understand the problem well enough, then you can craft a solution that is more likely to be successful than not. So, and I think this is the case with understanding my country, which is why I kind of want to do a series where I pose questions and try figure out how deep I can get and see where it takes me, right? Yeah. So yeah, my dad really exposed me to the mining industry and business in general, and it's such a blast, and I really want to carry that on. I really want to take advantage of the information I have currently and try expand and keep going and add to the body of knowledge too. Now, my channel's still small. I just post here, and it's a way of for me to also document it. Yeah, so next video. So in addition, what I'm trying to also do is add to the body of knowledge, as I mentioned previously, about how to conduct business properly with the free market, right, which everyone is doing. How to generate business for any kind of business, right? How do we actually extract, or how do we provide value to the free market in exchange for foreign currency or in exchange for other sorts of value, right? I mean, really speaking, the mining industry is something that I know, but I know there are other industries that we can tap into and provide value. For instance, we can also use our expertise, or like what's intellectual property. I don't know exactly what it is, but the non-tangible services. What am I trying to say? We can use services like people's skill. Zimbabweans are literate. Zimbabweans are good at their numbers. There's consulting services that we could provide to the free market in exchange for foreign currency too, right? So that's not the idea. I'm just trying to add information, ideas, and not only just yip yap, but do things and actually provide value, right? I think that's a conversation that needs to be done, right? If I'm genuinely wanting to provide value to the country and the people, right? If I find that meaningful, and I'm not sure if it's meaningful yet, but it's something that I keep thinking about. It's something that I think is worth the time to actually, and by think about it, like to actually write some stuff down, to organize information, and then present it in a way that is appealing, right? So, why I also have copper here, because I was thinking more about other metals that are important in the process of manufacturing batteries and any kind of copper, I mean, cable manufacturing, electrification process, whatever it is, right? I know of right now, if just crunching the numbers, right? If we're saying the country's losing 3 or 4 billion, let's not even say losing, let's say producing with gold alone, as far as we know, I don't think it's more than $5 billion if we were counting both um, on the table and under the table, illegal and legal transactions, right? I don't think we're exporting any gold or minerals or metals in general that equate to more than 5 billion. But if the resource is in the ground, right? Let's say that there is copper, and these are the prices. I'm going to get to this just now. The only bottleneck with minerals and metals that I know of is the availability, right? How feasible and viable is it to actually extract this metal? The reason why we also have a lot of artisanal miners, as far as I understand, again, I'm going to verify this information. Perhaps there's other reasons too that I'm not appreciating well enough, but forgive me for that. If the resource is in the ground, we typically don't do any proper exploration, right? You have to like diamond drill, apparently, and like dig 200 meters across an area, different holes, to really get an appreciation of what's in the ground. Then you can determine, usually it's going to be feasible if you have the funds, if it's like some investor or something. But is it viable? Do we want to just mine here and then get 2 years worth of resource and then we're closing down, firing everyone? It's supposed to make sense to the investor, unless we have the funds for ourselves, which we don't. But that might be something we need to think about getting around. So I want to contribute to that conversation. How can we get investment? How can we produce funds for ourselves to understand what's in the ground properly and see the viability and feasibility of mining? Copper right now is going for 9 grand per ton. It's going to get to 10,000. If we were producing, and I think this is reasonable, but I might be crazy, so forgive me again, but if we're producing 100 tons a day, and I think one player could even do this too, and this is the price of copper cathode, which is 99.9% purity. Yeah, you produce 100 tons a day. Over the year, you've definitely clocked over 250 mil, right? Because that's about $1 million, slightly less. If it gets to 10 grand, then it's dead on $1 million a day, something like that, right? And if this is just 100 tons that you're refining to copper cathode and exporting, that's $1 million a day. If we have multiple players doing this, and let's say if the resource is actually available, which I'm sure really it should be. I know of many miners. I'll explain in the next video. Hold on. I know of many miners or producers in the gold mining industry so there's two processes where you capture gold, right? What I've learned, right? Thanks to my dad, thanks to watching, right? You capture free gold, which is, captured by different methodology like gravitational. You capture free gold. It's a simpler process. But then you capture what's in the tailings or the dump, whatever they call it, sand dumps, or sulfides, right? There's gold you capture that needs more energy, more chemicals to extract it, right? Because gravity alone doesn't work. So people that do this process, right, have to like leach the gold, etc. So they use chemicals and, like I'm saying, a boiler, whatever. And I've seen a couple of people complain about copper content making the process a lot more difficult, which reflects a presence of copper. There's mines right now that, I guess it's efficient, but in their gold mining production, they have some copper that they end up producing simply because it comes hand in hand at times. So look, All I'm saying is there's so much more unexplored. I'm sure there's a lot of unexplored land in the country, right? And this is one metal. If we're producing 100 tons a day of pure copper, provided we did the actual exploration and diamond drilling to determine how big the resource is and how viable it is to mine it and produce and manufacture it and transport everything. I know energy and that whole cost of producing it is a factor that stops most companies from doing it, but I don't think that's the entire reason. I think it's also the return. Sometimes apparently like they can't own 100% of the project, but that's unfair to someone who's bringing multiple millions. I don't know. We're gonna find this out. We're gonna research this and properly understand this issue. But I'm throwing out ideas here that I'm thinking about. Right? If we really focus and become competent people who can extract some of these metals, interact with the free market, and sell this. We know nickel right now, 23 grand per ton. That's ridiculous. Cobalt is even worse. It's like 35 grand. I don't think it's here, but it's preposterous. Right? So these are the kind of conversations I want to have, right? I want to be able to identify, think, and see these things and test it out in the market and see why it's not being done or who's doing it and to what degree. Could it be done better? Could it be done faster? That's how value is provided, right? So again, I hope you are as excited to do this as much as I am. I think this is going to empower anyone who just kind of invest themselves into understanding this. And if you intend to do any kind of business in Zimbabwe, and again, this is transferable skills. If we learn this and we figure out how to do this, just like other countries, they learn how to do something well. You can transfer this knowledge, these skills, to other countries, DRC, South Africa, etc., etc., etc. Who knows where it could go? But that's one of many different avenues in which we can increase the amount of forex that we are bringing into the country. And if that changes the state of the economy in any way, then it's worth thinking about. It's worth pursuing, maybe. Check you guys later. Cheers.